If the US had wanted to stop the putsch in Honduras, it could have done so in 48 hours, says Rafael Correa, the president of Ecuador. Correa has allied his country to the Bolivarian group of nations, which includes Venezuela and Bolivia. Ecuador has therefore sided with those opposed to US policy in Latin America. Correa spoke to Euronews.
Rafael
Correa, president of Ecuador, welcome to Euronews. You have said that Bolivia, Venezuela, Nicaragua and Ecuador, the Bolivarian bloc, should have organized themselves before any coup attempt in Honduras. Is that the case?
Well, we think the events that took place in Honduras are as a result of a new strategy. Defeat at the ballot box means people resort to force again, like in the coup d'etat 40 years ago. Obviously, it's not against a right-wing government to ensure the status quo, but it attacked a progressive government led by Manuel Zelaya. That's why we must be careful. I'm sure it's not going to happen here because of our popular support, and not because traditional pressure groups and powerful interest bodies are unwilling to do it. Still, we must be cautious.
Do you really think that the coup approach, which was a feature of Latin American politics for years, is still a risk?
Yes, we believe that part of the rise of these reactionary groups coincides with other worrying developments. For instance, the reactivation of the Fourth Fleet and the creation of 7 military bases in Colombia for the use of US forces.
Do you think the US endorsed the putsch in Honduras?
I can't confirm things I don't know. What I can confirm is that if the US was willing to put an end to the putsch in Honduras, it could have done it in 48 hours.
But President Obama has raised hope across the world, so what's going on?
What's going on? I appreciate President Obama a lot. He looks like a very good person, very nice, sensible and intelligent. I think he has very good intentions, but he heads a society, an economy and a political apparatus that moves very slowly, and it's difficult to change direction.
Are you saying the President of the United States has no input into the decision to create 7 military bases in Colombia?
Yes, probably.
What do you think is the difference between the Bush and Obama administrations?
Of course, very few things can be worse than Bush, but it's not enough. It's not enough to change the person. I maintain that President Obama is skilled and intelligent with good intentions, but the US policy towards Latin America has not changed.
Pero, por ejemplo, la política exterior de Estados Unidos hacia Latinoamérica prácticamente no ha cambiado.
The 7 bases were finalized under Obama, not Bush.
So it is, and the Honduras situation took place under Obama. Under Bush, there were no coups in Latin America.
Bush's policy seems more sensible in Latin America, a paradox.
It's not a question of being sensible, but it's a matter of handling the apparatus. All the apparatus backed Bush. It's not the case with Obama. There is big resistance against him. Racist groups and powerful economic bodies are against Obama because they reject the idea of an American president with African origins.
The countries belonging to ALBA, the Bolivarian Alliance of Nations, have established excellent relations with Iran. Iran and the US are at loggerheads. Don't you think this stance destabilizes international relations in South America?
Desorganizando lo que eran los equilibrios de las relaciones internacionales en Sudamérica con este tipo de política.
This is amazing. Colombia has had diplomatic relations with Iran for years. As soon as Ecuador establishes diplomatic ties with Iran, we're destabilizing the scenario. I don't understand it. Ecuador doesn't need authorization to establish diplomatic relations with any country. We're a sovereign state. It's not in our interest to break the balance of power in the region. We just want to do what's best for our people. So Iran has a big market for our products and a rich source of technological and financial support. And these double standards annoy me, because at least Iran is a democracy, despite allegations against it. The United States did not ask Latin America for authorization to establish diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia. It's not even a democracy, but nothing happens.
But Iran is a threat to the world's stability because it is said to be developing nuclear weapons. What is the Bolivarian stance on nuclear ambitions?
Well, according to this criteria, aren't your countries and the United States a threat? I don't know why what's good for some is bad for others. If you want my opinion, morally, I would like an end to all nuclear weapons and an end to double standards.
So within this framework, Iran has the right to develop nuclear weapons.
I don't think anyone has the right to build a nuclear bomb, but what really annoys me is this idea of good and evil.
It doesn't bother you they're developing an atomic weapon. You can still deal with Tehran?
First of all, they've not admitted they're building a bomb. Secondly, the same rules should apply to everyone. I don't believe there is good and evil.
Si el arma atómica es un peligro para la humanidad, que no tengamos armas atómicas en el planeta.
Did Ecuador receive 55 million euros from Iran? Is that the case?
I think we signed an agreement for a loan of close to 70 million euros. I don't know if it's been activated yet. They haven't done it yet. But we'll get it.
What do you think about the strategy against terrorism, the FARC, adopted by Colombian President Uribe?
We've just re-established our relations. Europe isn't well informed. A FARC sanctuary was discovered on the Ecuador-Colombian border in the Amazon jungle, and Colombia thinks it's justified to bomb us. Well done. That's crazy. Can we be considered to be a FARC accessory because there is one FARC camp on the territory? So the biggest FARC accessory should be the Colombian president, Uribe. As in Colombia, there are 200 FARC camps, and he hasn't succeeded so far in defeating the FARC on his own territory. We think that a military solution to this conflict is far away. We will always be ready to mediate in the search for a solution to these kind of conflicts.
Si se trata de la búsqueda de soluciones pacíficas a esta clase de conflictos.
But is Uribe's way the best approach against terrorism or not? Is it right for the region?
¿Es la buena manera de actuar en América Latina?
I think a 50-year civil war against the FARC alongside the paramilitaries and the narco-traffic is not a good strategy. If it had been a good strategy, the FARC would have been defeated. Look at how many billions have been spent on the struggle between brothers.
Muchas gracias, presidente.